You're tuning into the rerun, and this is Retro Coyote here. How's it going, guys? Yeah, so a couple of housekeeping real quick. Just a little bit of what I've been up to. I almost got laid off at my job, so I've been kind of scrambling the past couple weeks, trying to make sure I still have a job and that everything's okay. Everything turned out okay. Everything's good for now. But that was kind of scary, and I was in a bit of a panic, and I had to get everything taken care of. But for now, everything seems to be okay. So they put me on a different help desk, so that is good. And yeah, now we can get back to doing what we enjoy, which is making videos with you guys. So we are checking out another tier list today. The 90s and 2000s Childhood Nostalgia Tier List Maker. And this is one that seems to be right up our alley. So before we get started, guys, if you enjoy the content here on this channel, then please make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps us out, helps us grow. And hey, if you want to support us perhaps more directly, then there's going to be a link down in the description for our Patreon. It gets you access to our community Discord, which is really cool. So definitely check us out if you're able to do that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get moving. So yeah, this is the 90s and 2000s Childhood Nostalgia Tier List Maker. Now, here we go. So we have love, really like, sometimes enjoy, it's fine, didn't care for, hate, and never had. And I'm glad they included this because I grew up poor. I had a lot of these, but I didn't have all of them. So we're going to go over each one. This is going to be a bit of a longer video, as you can see from all the options here, which is awesome. I love it. But yeah, tell me your top tier down in the comments below. What is your favorite 90s, 2000s toy or nostalgic thing that you had back in the day? Or was something you wish you had but never got to experience? Definitely let me hear your opinions on that down in the comments below. But we're going to go ahead and get started. A bit of rapid fire with these because there is so many. With the light up yo-yo. I never got into yo-yo. They tried to get us into it in gym class one day. They brought some dude who was a professional yo-yoer, and he showed a yo-yo promotional video. Right? You can do tricks with it. That's cool if you're into it. It's not my world. Mr. Potato Head, it's fine. You can do some silly stuff with it. Make it into Steve Harvey. Very funny. Hungry Hungry Hippos. It was fine. You lost all the marbles, though. When you're a kid and you get things that come with small parts, you're going to lose those small parts. Also, and this is grumpy middle-aged Ryan chiming in here, this game was loud. Like when you're going and you're hitting the lever to get the hippo eating all the marbles, clack, clack, clack. It's going to be loud, man. Stop it. Get some help. Play something else. But again, that's just grumpy adult me. That's just my perspective. But this was fun. While I was a kid, whatever. Play-Doh. Again, it's fine. Not something I was really super into. I was never one of those Play-Doh. Like I'm not a sculptor. I do a lot of artsy things, but sculpting was never one of them. Working with clay or any of that. And this was basically your starter kit for that when you were a kid. Not something I ever really got into. It was fun. Legos. Dude, Legos. I really like Legos. Legos are fun. I still have a couple Lego sets of my like Sonic stuff because I collect for Sonic. I have a Sonic channel if you want to check that out. I've actually been thinking about putting together some of the kits I got. Because when you're a kid, it's creative. You can make whatever you want. I like to make robots that did things like little eyeballs or magnets and, would follow a piece of metal around with its eyes. It was really cool, whatever. But now when you're an adult, they're a lot more like model kits, if that makes sense, that you can take apart, put back together again. My friend Duncan used to have most, if not all, of the Star Wars ships. And he had them he put them together and he would have them hanging from his ceiling. Awesome. Coolest thing ever. Of course, Bionicle. I still have a lot of Bionicle stuff. Bionicle was amazing, and I wish Lego would bring it back. A lot of fan projects have popped up. Not all of them got to be made because Lego kind of brought down their band hammer, which is kind of crap, but whatever. Yeah, Lego. Lego's awesome. I like Lego. Pokemon cards. Pokemon, and I'm judging this based on what it was at the time, not what it is now. Because what it is now is so far removed from what it was when we were kids. And you know what I'm talking about if you were a kid in the 90s and 2000s during the Pokemania thing. Matter of fact, this is going in the top tier. Because nobody ever got in trouble for bringing Legos to school. You got in trouble for bringing Pokemon cards to school. And later on, Yu-Gi-Oh! To a lesser extent. Yeah? So, Pokemon cards never stop being awesome. They're multi-generational. Same with Lego, sure. But different sets, different pieces, different this, that, and the other. Pokemon cards have always been Pokemon cards. Okay. Perfection. I already have anxiety. I didn't need the help. Slinky. Slinkies were fun. It's fine. You know what? No. Sometimes enjoy. Because it was cool just to kind of play with. Send it down the stairs. Whatever. Do cool tricks with. Slinkies were fun. Skip it. I remember this. Very best thing of all, there's a counter on that ball. But I was never coordinated enough to be really good at it. Just couldn't manage. Wasn't for me. Furbies. Furbies, again, are still popular. I really like the Furbies. I like all robotic pets, but Furbies, they were the progenitor. They were the first to really bring it up into the mainstream. And people make all these crazy, weird custom Furbies now. I have a long Furby that I ordered from Etsy. It was really cool. Yeah, people still do crazy stuff with Furbies, myself included, you know. But yeah, Furbies are awesome. Always good. The Game Boy. Oh my goodness gracious. Yes. It made car rides amazing. I remember there were summers where that's all I did was play Pokemon Gold on my Game Boy. And I'm assuming that they're referring to Game Boys in general, not specifically the Game Boy Color. Because I had a Game Boy Pocket, and then later a Game Boy Advanced. That was me. And I'd play Pokemon Gold with an overlevel Typhlosion, who just blew everything to smithereens. A lot of fun. Moon Shoes. Never had these. And from what I understand, kids break their ankles all the time in these. No fun. The SP. I had this. This was awesome. This is where I played Gen 3. Yeah. The Game Boys, a lot of the Nintendo consoles are just Pokemon machines for me. I'm the worst Nintendo fan ever. I'm sorry. Also, backlight. Revolutionary, guys. Oh my gosh. So good. Tamagotchi. This was my first electronic toy and my first pet ever. Tamagotchi is always going to have a special place in my heart. I still remember the first time it died, and I was inconsolable. It died at school because my teacher took it away from me, and when they die, they beep really loud, like they're flatlining, and I could hear it from inside my teacher's desk, and it was very upsetting. Etch-a-Sketch. It was kind of cool. I messed around with it. We always got them on Christmas. They were okay. I never had these. Pop It. These were fun. I got to hang out with some friends. We had Bop It, and we would pass it around, see who could beat, the record, who was the best, all that stuff. Bop It was a lot of fun. So, not for like long term, but we spent an afternoon just playing Bop It, and it was fun. It was great. Pogs. You know what? Pogs are fine. Pogs are fine. I remember having Pogs. That's it. They sure did exist. Beanie Babies. They were okay. I remember having a bunch of them when I was a kid, with the promise that they would accrue value as they went. That did not happen. They were the Funko Pops of the 90s. Easy Bake Oven. I'd never had it. I'd love to have it, though. It would have been awesome. I would have been baking so many snacks. Oh, hey, Digimon cards. These are going to go into the really light category. Not as big as Pokemon cards. They didn't get that popular. Digimon never got as popular as Pokemon. And that's because they marketed it wrong. They marketed Digimon as a direct competitor to Pokemon in America, when that's never what it was. Digimon as it started as the digital pet, Digimon was the boys' Tamagotchi. The same people made it, a lot of the same programming in Digimon. But anyway, the cards were cool. I never learned how to play the game, though. That's crazy. I did know a little bit about playing Yu-Gi-Oh, though. And Yu-Gi-Oh was a lot of fun. Now, it's crazy now with all the different effects and stipulations. You have a whole novel written on the card text. You got to sit there and read it. It's ridiculous. But back in the day when it started, dude, Yu-Gi-Oh was dope. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. It was fine. It was fun. You know, play a couple rounds. Not something I really got super into. Lisa Frank. Dude, I really like Lisa Frank. Lisa Frank was a whole aesthetic, and it still is. And it's come back a couple times. Lisa Frank was awesome. The Razor Scooter. Oh my god, dude. You don't understand. I've been thinking about getting my hands on one of these for a video. You see this guy rolling on the street on a Razor Scooter. Because it really was like, you know, back in the day, you either had that or a bike. And the kids who had the Razor Scooters were the ones doing all the crazy tricks. So you know, or you could have a skateboard if you were a skateboarder, but skateboarders were kind of their own separate thing. You weren't getting around on a skateboard. You were doing tricks on a skateboard. You got around on a scooter. The scooters. I didn't care for those little gym scooters. You roll over your fingers. It was awful. The little ring toss games, didn't care for those either. Because I was always worried the water was going to get out and get everywhere and be all just gross and awful. Anything with water nope. iPods, bro, top tier, no questions asked. It's an iPod. You already know. You already know. iPods are amazing. And I'm assuming they're referring to all like digital music players here, unless I see like a Nugget MP3 player, then I'll correct myself. But yeah, MP3 players were awesome. I actually found my first iPod on the side of the road. I'm not even kidding. It was a little pink shuffle that I eventually just gave to my mom because I just couldn't get into it. But yeah, these bracelets, they were okay. You know, each of them represented their own little cause or their own little philosophy or whatever. And it's just like, whatever. They were cool. Razor phone. I had one of these. They were amazing. They were one of the first, like, camera flip phones. Like, first time you had a camera on your phone, and it was amazing. You could check an email on it, apparently. I never did that. I never really worked. I was a kid. I didn't have an email. But yeah, and you felt cool, because it felt like high technology in your hands. I remember my Razor, and I've been looking to get one. PS1. Where'd it go? There it is. PS1. I really like the PS1. PS1 was an amazing console. It's probably one of my favorites. Easily top 5. Maybe even top 3. You know, the PlayStation Underground discs were a lot of fun. The demo disc they gave you. I mean, that was your DLC right there. Because it also had cheats you could download to your memory card. Really cool stuff. PS2, it goes a tier higher. Because not only did you get a great game library with the PS2, you also got all your PS1 games were backwards compatible. So you didn't have to, you know, even if you didn't have any PS2 games, you brought that PS2 home ready to play. Awesome. And it's the best-selling game. And it was my first DVD player, too. Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, that's why they beat the Dreamcast. You'll hear Dreamcast fans, like myself, talk about that all the time. This was right about the time when DVD players were coming in, and yeah, like, the PS2 was a game winner, y'all. 360. I really liked the 360. It brought online gaming to the masses, and it really cemented a lot of online gamer culture, for better and for worse, you know what I mean? Really cool stuff. Kinects, I never had those. Wii. I have a Wii. My Wii is awesome. I modded the crap out of my Wii. And I'm going to go ahead and say, I really like it. Good. I can play GameCube games on it. I play Wii games on it. It's easy to mod. You can mod the crap out of this with the homebrew channel and do all sorts of crazy stuff with it. It's amazing. It really is. The OG Xbox. Oh my God. I love the OG Xbox because a lot of people say they want a Dreamcast 2. This was the Dreamcast 2. A lot of the DNA of the Dreamcast is in the OG Xbox, and a lot of people don't realize that. The Dreamcast ran off its own version of Microsoft, if you remember. And like I said, a lot of the same, like the controller, a lot of the form factor, a lot of the games. It was all right here in the OG Xbox, and it was amazing. And it was a console that had its own identity. And it was one of the last to really do that. I mean, you know, the Xbox 360, you know, yeah, the Wii, yeah, a lot of the 6th gen consoles had their own identity. Now everything is just squares on a screen that you pick, very Windows 10. It's whatever. But back in the 6th generation, these consoles were their own aesthetics. So you still find people talking about that to this day. House phones. I hated house phones because they got in the way of your internet. Get out of my way. GameCube. I really like the GameCube. Yeah, GameCube was awesome. So many good games on the GameCube. Underrated console. Only because it didn't have a DVD player like 360 or the Xbox or the PS2. But this little lunchbox here had some get up and go to it. Had a lot of great games you're not going to find anywhere else. And it was almost portable. Came with that little handle. But, you know, still really cool. iDog, you already know. He's going in the S tier. I have a couple of those guys. Yeah, obviously. They get A tier. They get top tier, S tier by default. These guys are amazing. I love them to pieces. Terrible speakers, but they're just fun to play with. The DS. Again, I still have my DS. I love this thing because, again, backwards compatible with your Game Boy Advance. And you've got a lot of games for the DS. So you've got a massive library of amazing games. And I still just use it for Pokemon. But it's so much fun because I wanted to get into the other things you could do with the DS itself. I want to get into like PictoChat, and I want to get into like the Messenger app on there and everything else. I need somebody to get into that with me, you know, because that particular tango takes two to do. But yeah, DS, amazing. N64, a lot of cool games, very good. I really like the N64. Not as much as the GameCube, but still was really good. It was the last hurrah of cartridge-based games. And boy, did it show. Like, it basically said, hey, this is all the cartridge games can do. And it did. It pushed cartridge gaming to its limit. That's why you needed that expansion block to play Donkey Kong. Because, I mean, there's a certain point where the console just wouldn't have it. Portable CD players. Oh my God. This got me into music. Portable CD players were amazing. I listened to my first album on my portable CD player, Soundgarden. Very cool. Love grunge music. Never had that. Never had that. Never had that. The slap bands, those are I messed around with them. I never had them. I never got into them. Hippie beads. Hippie beads were in my house. My dad would put up different sets of beads on different doors so you could tell who's coming in and out of each room. Gave our house a very kind of bohemian look. It was cool. I liked it. You know, sometimes it was inconvenient, but it's cool. You know, cool stuff. I Spy. It was okay. You know, it was fun to kind of poke around and look around the book in your library. Cartoon Network. Oh my God, guys, are you kidding me with this? Yes, top tier. Childhood right here. We watched way too many cartoons when I was a kid. It was awesome. What is this? Disney Channel? Disney Channel. I sometimes enjoyed the Disney Channel. They had some good shows on. Kim Possible, Gargoyles, all sorts of really cool stuff there. Nickelodeon, though. Nickelodeon. I really like Nickelodeon. SpongeBob, obviously. A lot of the old school Nicktoons. Very cool. PBS. Didn't care for it. I didn't care for it, man. What do you want from me? Um, that was I was too old for it by the time it really showed up. Only thing I remember really watching on there was Sesame Street and Mister Rogers, which were great. Don't get me wrong, but one for me. Zoo Books. Never had Zoo Books. I remember the commercial though. Fruit Snacks. That was a bit after my time. Baby Bottle Pop. No. This is the Scholastic Book Fair. Yo! Apparently they still have those at schools, which I think is amazing, and I hope they never stop doing because, like, you kidding me? And they need a book fair for adults. Like, I get it. We can, like, go online, go to Kindle, or go to Barnes & Noble, or Half Price Books, whatever. We're adults. We can do that. But, man, Scholastic, listen. Do like a roaming book fair, man, for real. I guarantee you'll make some money. This isn't Gator Golf. This is something else, and I never had it. The TV in school, watching like Bill Nye or Magic School Bus, absolutely S tier, y'all. Y'all already know. Very good stuff. Windows Pinball, Space Cadet Pinball, whatever you like. Yes, of course it's getting S tier. Back when we didn't have internet, we played this. This was gaming on our computer. This was top tier. You don't understand. What are these? These are like the jerseys you wore in gym class. I didn't like them. Altoids. I never had them. Skittles. No. Okay, blue, like different colored condiments, like blue butter or whatever. Yes. Amazing. It was so much fun. It started with green ketchup, and then it got out of hand and threw the rainbow at food. It was awesome. I was all about it. And then Shrek showed up halfway through it, and he's like, green ketchup. And it was amazing. God bless. Getting water on your jeans, I hated that because it always ripped up and damaged your clothes. And then your parents would get mad at you because, you damaged your clothes that they bought for you. I didn't buy my clothes, man. I know some kids did that, but to this day, I hate buying clothes. Most clothes I have are hand-me-downs to this day. Unless there's something really cool I want, like a cool coat or some shoes or whatever. Most of I just wear hand-me-downs, man. Those plastic glow-in-the-dark stars, you know what? I really like those. I used to have them in my room a couple times. Very cool. The glowing kind of sucked. They didn't glow that bright, but, I mean, hey, you couldn't beat it. I didn't have this. I wish I did. I was never an Apple kid. I was a Windows kid. Flintstone vitamins. These will cure anything, and they're awesome. I like them. Very cool. His bear was cool. I never had him. Heelys. I didn't care for Heelys. And it sounds weird, coming from a guy who likes soap shoes, where you would like grind on rails and stuff. The Heelys company eventually bought out soap shoes, and they made like a combo, which was really cool. But I mean, I was not coordinated. If you remember what I told you about the Skip It, I was not coordinated, and you weren't allowed to wear your wheels in school. I'd fall all over myself. No good. Blockbuster, though. Let me tell you about Blockbuster. This is the old magic right here. This is what got me into anime. All right, because they had those OVA series, all sorts of really cool stuff, and games. I'm still kind of bummed I missed out on the Pokemon Snap stickers that you could print out at that kiosk. That was so amazing. What a time to be alive, man. Sock and boppers. Oh, man. Violence with your siblings? Always goated. I love punching my brothers in the face. It was amazing. This Pokedex, I actually had this. Oh my God, was it awesome. And it was also a calculator. I took it to school and I did not get in trouble because it wasn't a toy, I said to my teachers. It was a calculator and it was for math. And I needed all the help I could get with math. And this was it. This was how I got help with math. I got so lucky they didn't understand what it actually was. But yeah, it was also a calculator, like real talk. It was awesome. This is goated. Absolutely. Bagel Bites. Pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time? Absolutely. You kidding me? School lunches. It depends. Generally, they were okay. Not always, but they were usually pretty good. Assuming you got whatever. Cheesy bread, again, right in the same tier as school lunches. It was pretty good. Oh, nope. Pretty good. I'm not really a cheese guy, but, whatever. Cool math games. They had some cool, it was fun. And it gave a lot of kids something to do in the computer lab right under the noses of their overbearing teachers. So I can't complain about that, man. Kid cuisine. This. I know all about this. And yeah, I really liked it because I was a picky eater as a kid, man. And this with the brownies and the fish sticks and the potatoes and the macaroni, yeah. Zoo Pals. I never had these. They showed up after my time. Super Soakers. I remember this is one of the things I asked for Christmas all the time was one of the big ones with the backpack where you felt like a Ghostbuster. Yeah. Dude, in the summer, like in the hot Texas summers, these were so much fun. Like, oh my goodness gracious, like with the pool and everything. Oh, dude, balling. It was amazing. Ice Pops. Yes. And the blue ones, I really like them. The blue ones were the best, and I will hear no slander. The blue ones are the best. Freaking Beyblades. Y'all, I did a video about Beyblades. I really like them. They're still going on today. They're not as popular as they used to be. They're one of the things that kind of showed up to be a competitor to like the trading card games kind of situations. Or like, battle collector anime things. Very cool. I like them. I still have a couple. They're amazing. Bug Juice. Never had it. 20 Questions. I didn't care for it. I'll be honest. I know some people really into it. That's cool. But it's like, I knew that it was limited in what it could do because it's a finite machine with finite things programmed into it. So it was easy enough to trick. So I never saw the appeal. Ice cream. Didn't care for it. With the wooden spoon, it bugged me. MASH. Didn't care for it. Cootie catchers. These were fun. These were fun to make, fun to use, fun little fortune tellers. I like it. Very cool. PSP. You guys already know. PSP, one of the best handheld consoles to ever grace this planet. Y'all already know. It's amazing. And you can mod it, and you can play your PS1 games. Little water worm gimbles. I didn't care for them. They didn't really do much. And again, the water in there could get out. Not a good time. Hot Wheels. They were okay. They were fun to set up. You'd lose your cars. But yeah, man, you could do some really cool stuff with it. Room in your room permitting, because you had to set up the track to do anything. But assuming you were able to do that, heck yeah, man. My brother is really into Hot Wheels. He has a big collection. Poochie and his entire line. Yes, I really like Poochie and his entire line. I have the Meowchi. They're really cool. As a kid, I had like the original Poochie, and it was so much fun. Oh my gosh. And I read the manual back and forth, try to see what all I could do, what all I could teach him. And it was fun, and it got less fun when I found out how limited it was, but it was still really cool. Wonder Ball. I never got to play around with Wonder Ball, or eat one, I guess. They was kind of like the Kinder Eggs here in America. But, yeah, I didn't get a lot of candy as a kid. Goosebumps. Yo! You already know. Goosebumps. Goated. This and Animorphs and Boxcar Children and Harry Potter. That's what we read when I was a kid. By choice, mind you. Not because the teacher was having us do it for a class, but we sought those books out to read. And I would love to know if you're in school now and you're somehow watching this, tell me in the comments what are the series of books that you guys go for now? What series do y'all seek out and read? Because I'm genuinely curious. Because I keep hearing about kids in school, they can't read, they don't do. But if you do, tell me what books you seek out, because I'm genuinely curious. Multi-pens. These were fun, especially for an artist. I really like them because you can do a lot with them. If you were drawing, coloring, whatever. And I was the kid that would draw all the time, so these were great. All the ink was too dark, though, and when you try to color in your work, it all looked the same, like just a dark mess. But it was still really cool. If you knew what you were doing, you could get some awesome pictures. These little Sonic McDonald's toys, they were fine. They weren't anything really special. They didn't need to be. They were cool enough that you got a little handheld game and a toy for McDonald's. And the fact that it was a game at all was doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And I have one. I need to open it up and get it running again because I think the battery in it is probably dead. But yeah, there was like some Crash Bandicoot and Spyro ones of these too. They were really cool. Abe Sapien, Robo Sapien. I'm sorry, Abe Sapien's from Hellboy. Robo Sapien. He had a whole like line of there was like a raptor. I think there was a dog. There's a couple of these guys. And these were really cool if you were techie. Because people would get into it and reprogram it and mod it. And you could do some really creative stuff with that. I was never that advanced. And I'm still not. But, oh my goodness, you could do some amazing things with these. And they were very expensive, so very few kids got them at the time. But, very cool. Climbing trees? Is that what this is? I'm going to go ahead and say this one's climbing trees. Climbing trees. I really like climbing trees. I'll still climb trees. Or I try to climb trees, but I can't because I'm 36. And I weigh like 3 times what I did at that age. Paint candy. I never got that. Bubble jug. I never got that. Again, I wasn't a big candy kid. I had my favorites like M&M's, Snickers, Hershey bars. I like chocolate, but I wasn't big on candy. If I'm going to eat fruit-flavored candy, I'm just going to eat a piece of fruit. Why pay more for a crappier version of the same thing? Never had that. Push Pop. I know it was super popular, but I never had that. So yeah, a lot of the candy down here in the never had. I noticed that. Yeah. But yeah, man. Oh my goodness gracious. See, this was a great tier list. I had so much fun. But yeah, here in the top tier, this was my childhood, man. Oh my goodness gracious. I want to get my hands on a Razor scooter and a Razor flip phone. The Razors, but I want to get my hands on some of those because I need to do a video about them because they were big parts of my childhood. This is, yeah, man. Wow. Also, I might look into getting some of the Goosebump novels if I can find them at like garage sales or thrift stores or whatever. I can definitely grab some of those. But yeah, some amazing stuff. And one of the other things I want to get is one of the old school digital cameras they came out with back in the day. Oh man, very, very 2000s. But this was a lot of fun to do. Tell me down in the comments what some of your top tiers were. Tell me if you always wanted one of these but never got them. Tell me if you got them eventually and if they were awesome or if they were disappointing to you, whatever. Tell me your story. I want to know. But beyond that, guys, like I said earlier, if you enjoy the content here on this channel, make sure to like and subscribe. That's how we grow the channel. And yeah, if you want to support me more directly, check out the link to our Patreon down in the comments below. We really appreciate it. It gets you access to our community Discord, which is awesome. But beyond that, thank you guys so much for watching. And hey, I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.